All right. So in terms of growth mindset tools that I have learned to love, one of them is Edpuzzle, and I think it is a tool that can be used to help develop growth mindset. What I usually would use this kind of thing for is have students, if they're doing a project of some kind, or if they're presenting, or if they just have questions, they can either take a video and upload it to Edpuzzle or to YouTube rather, and then Edpuzzle goes through and goes from there, or a screencast if it's on the computer, that kind of thing. And what I like to do with it is have them use it to annotate videos. So you go through and like let's say, this is in particular, this is a kid. Let me go to one of my samples here. What you can do is as you go through this video, you can add little snippets of commentary. So this is like an audio track, which I'm not going to play for you right now, but you can actually add like an audio question or whatever. And you can also ask open-ended questions for students. So I usually would ask like a certain amount of questions, or have the students ask questions throughout the video that their peers can answer, or that they can also just kind of make a comment about. And it's kind of a cool way to get kids interacting with a digital medium, of course, helping them feel comfortable with that, and also just the driving of the questions is what we're going after. So that's a great tool. I also am trying tools like Desmos. It's a great like math tool for math, which I guess we're mostly talking about here. If you haven't used Desmos before, it's this really cool program that lets you really just do a lot of neat things with graphing and interactives and sliders and this kind of stuff. I don't know what this one looks like, but it's a way that someone has gone through and set this all up such that I can go through and I change these variables to see how it changes the graph. So this can be used in particular, I think, Algebra 2, in terms of like the whole finding roots and what are roots. Rather than have the kid graph it on like an ancient TI calculator or something, we can change the roots in real time. We can see what's changing on the graph. The kids can understand behavior like that much more intuitively, I think, than even just doing it on paper. And that can, of course, lead deeper conversations about what's happening and understanding and that kind of thing. Formative assessment was talked about, and the site that I happen to work for now, but I haven't always, is opened.com, which has lots of pre-built formative assessments, and they're kind of just short snapshot assessments that also actually have a learning component, because they then, based on what the kid misses, they then recommend a video or a game based on that concept. And so the students aren't just taking a test and that's it. They're actually learning something based on it, and it's all free. There's a premium component, of course, but the main site is free, and I strongly believe in formative assessment as a tool to help drive growth mindset. And something else I like doing, just in terms of online interactive in general, my company uses Slack, which is this great like conversational tool, which I probably shouldn't show on the screencast just because there might be sensitive information in it, right? It's internal conversation. But when I'm teaching at the college level, I've loved it because students can actually ask more questions, and they feel much more free to ask questions in this kind of more private, kind of closed off environment just to the class, and it makes it feel more like a face-to-face class. I'm not really sure how that would translate to like a K-12 environment, just because you are in class, but I do feel like having this kind of slightly more controlled, but also two-way conversation street with kids would be a really great thing. It just might not be Slack because it's not really, you can't do much controls. But if there was a way to kind of have more of a conversation outside of school with students, I think that's a great thing for them to ask questions that they're just thinking of, as opposed to this kind of formal waiting for class. And I think they're afraid to ask questions sometimes because they almost don't want the answer, right? They want to ask the question a lot of times, but sometimes it's better for us to be able to sit back and let them ask questions and let them try and find it on their own before we jump in and help. I think that's one of our, like Dan Meyer says, be less helpful, right? And I think that all these communication tools and online tools in general should enable us to make a change, to ask questions, let kids ask questions more and make things more student-centered, as opposed to giving them a worksheet. Let's have them create their own worksheet. Let's have them get halfway to the answers and ask one another, even if it's a digital medium, where they want to go next. So that's kind of how I'm excited about. I've changed the way I think about these tools and trying to think about them more as a growth mindset, as opposed to look how students are being creative. Well, that's one part of it, but of course, it's actually more how are students driving their own learning.